that feel? Feel good? Feels pretty nasty, right?
Yeah.
Pretty gross, pretty unfair. Makes you want to clean it up. Maybe like find the person who smeared this nasty crap over you. Tell them to clean it up.
Clean this up now.
People are starting to walk by. They see this gelatinous goop smeared on your face. They probably believe that's just how you always look. How embarrassing. Even people you know before this are walking by. And they're being very weird. They're looking at you like you're gross or something. Like they don't know what you really look like. It's like they think the way you looked before is just an illusion or something. Why would they think that? Why are they treating you like that? You find out the person who smeared this crap on your face just now, it's because that person told them that this is how you've always looked. And they believed it. They believed it. Ouch. What a jerk, right? What is wrong with all these people? They're just gonna believe you had this snotty, nasty, putrid slush smeared across your face this whole time? What the heck? Here, let me help you out. All right, now take a deep breath, have a seat, sit back, relax, breathe in, breathe out. You have just been the target of a smear campaign. You got smeared. Smeared. You got smeared. Smeared. Okay, sucks, I know. This can be overwhelming, this can be frightening, this can be very infuriating. What is a smear campaign, in case you haven't heard? It's an intentional, premeditated effort to undermine an individual or a group's reputation, credibility, or their character to other people. So they're talking smack about you. They're spreading rumors about you. That's what a smear campaign is. They're lying about you to other people that know you and know them to make you look bad. Another definition from Cambridge Dictionary says, a planned attempt to harm the reputation of a person or company by telling lies about them. You've likely heard it called this and not a gossip or a rumor in regards to the patterns of a narcissist, but not only narcissists do this. Now, I will say this, if you've broken up with a narcissist and you've left that relationship, they did a smear campaign on you. It's like 10 times out of 10, they did it. It's one of their token things. They have to run a smear campaign on you, to some degree at least, because that's their nature. They're always going to do it. Even if you weren't aware of it, they did it, to some degree. They literally can't help themselves. They are absolutely obsessed with their image, and they act like they will drop dead if they hold themselves accountable to anything that they do wrong. So that's not going to happen. And they're often doing lots of things wrong, so they're going to do a smear campaign. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. But this can be done by people that are not narcissists as well. I'd say it's a pretty narcissistic behavior, but it can be done by someone that just is jealous of you. It can be done by someone who was abusive. There are two main reasons that somebody would engage in a smear campaign. The first reason is what I mentioned above, to protect their image and other people's perception of them. The person doing the smearing is always very preoccupied with power, success, always needs to appear like they're in the right, or like they're above other people. They're smart and confident, and if anything bad happened, it was somebody else's fault. If the person doing the smearing was abusive to the target, they're going to want to appear like they were the victim. They're going to want to make everybody think that person was actually abusing them, and they're actually just a victim in all of this. So terrible. Poor baby. So they may create lies about what caused the two of you to break up, or they may just skew stories about the target, just so that people believe that the target is a bad person and they're a good person. Or they might want people to think that the target has a lot of issues, has a lot of things wrong with them, and they put up with it for so long, but they just couldn't anymore.
It's just, I think it was a lot. There's so much. They just did so much to me.
Or helping them to feel like they were off the hook for getting away from that person. Like they had a good reason to get away from that person if they kind of turned their back on that person. The overall goal is to make the smearer look like the innocent good guy that did nothing wrong, that just was protecting themselves against a terrible person, and to make the target look like the bad guy that messed up and did everything wrong and was crazy. The smearer could do this in a number of ways. They could do it slowly and subtly behind the target's back while they're still in the relationship. They might have been gearing up for the smear campaign while you were still trusting and loving them and in a full-blown relationship with them, and you had no idea what was happening. That can happen. And if they're doing that, it's because there's been something that has happened that has made the smearer know that relationship is going to end. And that's their plan, and they want to make sure that they have themselves covered for not being blamed for it. They want to make sure they come out in the end looking like the guy that was doing nothing wrong. Or sometimes it's the case of they already have somebody else and they want to make it seem like they're not a bad person and weren't cheating or anything. So they have to make a really good reason why they would leave that person and abandon them and move on to someone else so quickly. And it's better if it looks like that person was a bad person, because then they can justify how they were acting when they were really just cheating on the person. So it's pretty messed up. Sometimes that might not be the case. They might just make up a really big lie at the time that they're ready to discard this person and get that person out of their life. So it can happen either way. But the second reason that someone would start a smear campaign on you or on someone is just simply to cause harm to the target. They want to hurt that person. The smearer wants the target to have no one on their side, no one in their corner. And they want them to feel alone, and they want them to suffer. There's no good way of saying it. It's just what it is. They want nobody sympathizing with them. They want to even convince the target that they're in the wrong, even though they weren't. One explanation for this could be thinking that this could be a way to get that target back in their control if they're starting to lose control of them, and they want that target to listen to them again and be susceptible to their influence. So they just are finding a way to isolate that person and make that person really vulnerable and really desperate and come crawling back to them. Not so they can treat them right or love them or because they actually care about them or want them back, but they want them in their life so they can control and manipulate them some more, have an influence over them. But most of the time, if it is for this reason, they just want to see that person suffer. They want the satisfaction that person is suffering from knowing that happened to them, and they do want them to come crawling back, but they want it so that they can then reject them in that moment that they're very low and very alone and very susceptible to pain. And then they're going to kick them while they're down. And that will give them a lot of validation. They want the person to feel bad about something that they did. And usually when someone is this vindictive, they probably don't have a very justified reason to be acting that way, but they think they do. So whatever it was that offended them, which could simply be that you left them because they were being abusive, they were treating you badly, and you left. And that's pretty humiliating for someone with this big of an ego. So they have to do the smear campaign because they can't let anybody see that you just left them, because that's insulting to them, because they have a big head, way too big for their body, just bobblehead. And they really want to see you crawl back so they can gaslight you, and they can tell you that this is happening to you because of you. You shouldn't have done what you did, and you're just getting your karma. And then they will sit there smugly and revel in all of the glorious joy of seeing you suffer. That's what they want. That's what they really hope happens. They want to see an emotional reaction. They want to see it hurt you. Really, really dark, really messed up. It doesn't mean that everybody who does a smear campaign is seeking both of these outcomes, but it will be for one of these reasons. And sometimes both. But sometimes they could just be doing it for, not that they want to hurt you, but they don't want to look bad. If they're doing it for the first reason, they just don't want to look bad. They want to maintain their image. They don't want to look bad to everybody around. They don't necessarily want it to hurt you and want to see you hurt, but they don't actually care enough like that's happening. They don't mind that happens as a side effect, but they're not doing it intentionally to do that. That's not their main goal, but they're not that bothered that that's a side effect. Like they're still going to do it because they care more about themselves. So even if this has never happened to you directly, I think that you could imagine why this would be incredibly painful and overwhelming and hard to accept, hard to navigate, hard to deal with. It's pretty devastating. It's a disgusting behavior. It's very detrimental to the target. One of the most difficult things about a smear campaign is just knowing how to react to it. You don't know what to do. It's really baffling. If you respond with warranted emotions like anger, frustration, or sadness, it just looks like, to anyone looking around, that you're unhinged. It looks like you're proving what was told about you. You're showing that behavior, and please believe that the smearer is absolutely going to spin it that way. They're going to be cool, calm, and collected, and they're going to act like you're being real crazy, and it's just going to look like defensiveness because it was true. So you can't defend yourself because you're going to say,
well, everything you said about me is not true.
And they're going to sit there and they're going to be like,
It is, though.
And they've already had these conversations when you're not there, so everybody already believes them. And then they're just going to be like,
Gosh, what a level of denial. This person's crazy.
and they're going to talk long after you stop that reaction. They're going to continue to influence the story, so you're just going to look worse by behaving that way. And some people are going to say,
Well, if that wasn't true, then I would maybe feel upset about it. Why would you reacting if it wasn't true?
that's not even very good logic, because if someone's having lies told about them to a lot of people and people are treating them differently because of that, of course that's how you're going to react. Maybe some people would just be like,
I'm not going to bother with that.
but I think the majority would be pretty upset. So it's kind of dumb logic, but it's going to be a lot of people's logic, unfortunately. The smearer can use to their advantage that people do not like to be involved in drama. And the unfortunate part is that the smearer is creating the drama.
What?
The smearer is the drama. And so what people don't understand when they just say,
I don't want to be in it.
and that when they say,
I see both sides. I don't want to take anyone's side.
what they don't understand is that this is a premeditated attack on this person, because this person didn't want to be in it either. This person was innocent in the matter of as far as the lies that are being told about them, and the way that their story is being skewed that is influencing directly who will talk to them and who is in their life. It's literally negatively changing their life. And this person had no right to do that to them. Usually, this person's already done a lot of really messed up things to them because they're usually the one actually in the wrong. That's what the target is going through. They're having someone lie about them. And so by deciding that you're not going to be involved and you're not going to take a side, you're not going to take a stand, and you're not going to hear the sides out, you're not going to be a part of it, you're essentially just removing yourself from that person's life. You're saying, I don't care about what someone's doing to you. I'm not going to be a part of this thing that's happening that's very unfair to you, and stand in your corner and be a supporter of you. Even though you've never done anything wrong to me, even though you've been in my corner before, I'm just not going to be a part of it. That can really hurt. You can lose a lot of people really fast because someone did a smear campaign on you. It's upsetting. And I can tell you firsthand, that whole situation, that was something that really broke my heart. It's extra hard for someone who already has a really hard time with their own self-worth. And it's just really hard to go then through something where a lot of people suddenly turn their back on you, and it's for reasons that you know are not true. They just don't know how much you need someone at that time to care. And that can really hurt when no one seems to care. And you know that all you ever gave to any of those people that might have been involved was your best, and you loved them, you cared about them. And if somebody was doing this to them, you would definitely take a stand. There's someone who's in the right and there's someone who's in the wrong. Sometimes that is the way things are. And if you had certain people in your life, it's not about taking sides. It's about hearing out the situation and making a logical determination about how that doesn't make sense from this person's side, and that's not right to do that to someone. I don't care who you're close with or what relationships you're trying to maintain. That's not what it should be about. It should be about what's wrong or right. And that's how I feel. And some people can say you have to have loyalty. There's a certain level of loyalty, and maybe you're going to talk to people maybe behind closed doors, but I would hope that most people's loyalty to certain groups or whatever it is not causing them to just ignore what's wrong or right and people that they said they cared about. It's upsetting that people do that. And it can leave somebody feeling very alone.
Just my 2 cents. You needed some sense, okay?
Yeah, so this type of thing, it really can massively impact someone's mental health. It can massively impact their overall well-being. This is hurtful, really hurtful. In the worst of cases, it can even result in a depression. It can result in feeling like life isn't worth having. It can feel like,
I don't have anyone. I'm all alone. What is the point?
people can get very depressed and in a very dark place. It's a really cruel thing to do to somebody. The target tries to tell the smearer that they know that they lied about these things to the other people, and that's why people are treating them differently, and that's messed up. The smearer will claim that they don't have anything to do with other people, and that if so many people are thinking that about them, that maybe they should realize it's probably true, and that maybe they should stop blaming everything on everybody else. They'll gaslight you. They will gaslight the target, and they will tell them that the reason all these people are thinking that is because they witnessed it, and it's what happened. But you will know as the target that that didn't happen. The things that they're claiming, that's not how things happened. So nobody could have witnessed it and came to that conclusion. The only way anyone came to that conclusion was by the influence of the smearer. It's literally the only way that that could have happened, because it's not the accurate truth of how things went down. So it's very frustrating. It can drive you insane. And a lot of people would just say,
There's a ton of other people in the world.
Go make other friends.
people act like it's so easy for everyone to just make new friends and just let people go. That's not how humans work all the time. That may be how some people work, but I know for me, it's hard for me to warm up to people and have a connection with people. And then also at this time, your trust has been obliterated. You've been massively wounded by this incident. And so you're not just ready to like jump on out there and be like,
Let's try some new friendships.
Let's see how these people will treat me.
this is crushing. It can really mess up your life. And the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, it's very unlikely that there's anything that you could ever do that will get the smearer to admit what they've done or take it back. And even if they do ever slightly admit it to you, they will likely never go back and clear your name to everyone. From someone who's been on the target end of a smear campaign, that's what you just wish could happen more than anything in the world. You wish that they could right all these wrongs. You wish that this mirror would have some epiphany and realize that this is just incredibly horrible to do to somebody, and that they will just suddenly have some type of empathy for you, and that they're going to go and right their wrongs out of the duty of morality.
And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Oh, Matt.
So he brought back the toys and the food for the feast, and he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast.
But that's not going to happen. I can tell you that if that's ever happened to anyone, it's a miracle. It's a rare case. It's not going to happen. And so once you know that someone has done a smear campaign on you, the fastest you can reach a level of healing and acceptance and move on from whoever decided to believe those things about you and just get on with your life, that is the answer. It's just a little bit dismissive and insensitive to just tell people to do that right away and act like that's just so easy to do, because it's not. But that is where you eventually need to get to. It's the only option that you have. When you're in the throes of it, what the heck do you do? How do you handle this? How do you handle that heavy brick of a pain that's just on your shoulders every day because you just can't seem to accept that somebody could hurt you like this and that there's people that believe this entire story that is not true about you? And so I am going to help you navigate a smear campaign. This is what you do when somebody wants to smear you and destroy your reputation, and they break your heart, and they take away parts of your life and parts of your connections, and you feel hopeless and alone. I want to give you the tools and some really cutting-edge, modern-day tips, along with some tried and true methods that have been working for years. These lists that I'm giving you, I didn't just Google this and give you this list off of Google. You can't get this anywhere else. This is something that I have recently come up with based on research and my own personal experience. It's not going to be what you've heard before. Some of it might be, but it's not going to be your standard list that you can just go get off Google. So it's very valuable. And hello. I think it's great. I think it's amazing. No, I'm just saying, looking out for you, bestie. And I want to help you. I literally want to help you. Okay? So stay tuned and let's get into it. Step 1, you've just been smeared, okay? What is the very first thing that you want to make sure you do? Stop.
Halt! I am Reptar!
Pause. Don't do anything. That's what you want to do. You want to pause. Do not react. You need to shut out all outer communication. You need to get all by yourself, and you need to not reach out, not react, not have any texting, don't post anything, don't say anything. Just cut it out. Go inside of your bubble, okay? Go hide. No one can reach you right now. You're gonna get the smear off of your face. We're not reacting to that. That's nonsense. You know that it's not true. It's going to be shocking as you see that other people don't automatically want to hear what you have to say about it, aren't automatically wondering if you're okay. It's going to be baffling. It's going to hurt as you come to the realization that people aren't caring that that's happening to you and that they may even believe this person, but you're not going to react. You don't want to respond impulsively. That's the worst thing you can do. For one, the reason you don't want to do that is because you're going to just react in blind anger and emotion. You don't ever want to do that. You always want to think through your emotions first before you release them to other people to hear, okay? Otherwise, you're just letting it fly. And the other really big reason you don't want to do that is because, hello, like I said, why are they doing this? One of their main reasons for doing this is because they want to see you react. They want to see you get so upset. They want to hurt you. So obviously, someone that wants to hurt you wants to see you in pain. What are you not going to give them? That. You give them what they want. They are just waiting to get that little slimy satisfaction out of seeing you break down, seeing you cave in, seeing you hurt. And then after you've hurt for enough time, they're waiting for that satisfaction of you coming back and saying that you want to make amends or you want to talk about it. Why do you don't need to talk to the person that destroyed your reputation, took friends away from you, destroyed bonds that you had with people, having no clue what those maybe meant to you. They don't care. They did it for their own selfish reasons. They just wanted to do that to you. Wanted to hurt you. You don't have anything to talk to them about. You're going to feel a strong urge to defend yourself. Don't do it. Because just what you need to understand is they know that what they've said about you is not true unless they're absolutely insane. What they believe is that they have a justified reason to spin it that way. Lots of people like to keep themselves blind from things because it suits them. And so they have a really comfy way of ignoring everything that shows them that that's not true. And they've worked really hard to probably convince themselves that some level of this is true. And a lot of people, I think, in my experience, the person that did this to me, they have a way of taking something that's a little bit true, they'll skew it to be a lot worse than it really is, or they won't tell a certain detail of it because that detail would make it totally not your fault. And that detail changes everything, but they'll not mention that detail. Or when people ask them certain questions, they'll hint at things that would lead anyone to believe a certain thought about you, and then they won't clear it up. And then it's like,
Well, I never said that. That's just what that.
now you led that person to think that. You knew exactly what that was going to lead them to think. Stuff like that. They do tricky little things like that, and it's messed up. They just don't have any integrity. So there's no point in going to them, trying to talk through it with them, because they've already convinced themselves that they're totally justified doing this. They want to hurt you. They get something out of hurting you, and that's scary. Just, you're done with this person, okay? Immediately when you know that someone has done a smear campaign on you, you are done with this person. There's never going to be a relationship there, unfortunately, and I'm sorry, I know that hurts. So don't react, okay? Something that you can do that can help you in this moment is anything that can ground you back to reality and out of this like overwhelming emotion that you're probably experiencing. It can be really overwhelming. So if you like nature, go for a walk that's just away from phones and just like get into nature. Just expel yourself into nature. If music helps you to feel calm down, and then do that. If you need to take some spa activities, if you need to go into a bath, or you need to do some yoga, meditation, if you just need to go to sleep, take some melatonin, I don't know, whatever. What you don't want to do, don't do the thing where you do bad habits. Do not get drunk, okay? I know some people might say like,
Yeah, drink your pain away.
no, that never ends well, okay? That drops your inhibitors and takes away your logical mind and just puts you full-blown into your emotions sometimes. So don't do that. Don't do that, because that's what's going to end up with you drunk texting or embarrassing yourself. And that's the last thing that you want to do, because you don't need anything else like that on you, okay? So don't do that. Don't go get wild and make bad decisions. Don't do that. Just do something that brings you back grounded and calm, whatever that takes. And now I will say that if you have some friends that are not part of this group that has been turned against you, and you can be around them and they can give you support, you really could benefit a lot in this moment from being around people that know you very well and can help reassure you that you're loved and that you matter and that they know that these things aren't true about you. Now, I know times are hard right now. I know there's a lot of people that are suffering from being able to make friends, and there's a lot of people that don't go outside a lot anymore, and they just really struggle as adults to maintain and make new friendships. And so if something like this happens with pretty much the main group of friends and everybody that was close to you in your life, like when this happened to me, everyone that was in my day-to-day life pretty much gone in a whoosh. And I felt so abandoned, and I felt so lost, and I didn't really have anywhere to turn. I had my family and I had other friends, but I mean, they have their own lives, and I hadn't been spending a ton of time with other people because I was in this relationship. This was my world. That was what my world consisted of all the time. And I had one other like really close friend, but they had just gotten into a new relationship, and so you know how that kind of takes people away. And I had nowhere to turn, and it was really tough having people be so seemingly not caring about me and making me feel like I just never mattered to them, and I had no impact in their life, and I just was so insignificant that I was just so easy to forget and just let go and not talk to, and didn't even care to hear my side of any of what was happening to me. I felt so alone and in a dark place, and I just felt like I didn't have anybody to turn to that could validate for me that I do matter, and that they understand that that wasn't right to do to me. I don't deserve that. I did nothing to deserve that. And I really longed for that. So if you don't have anyone at that current time, it can be tough. It's going to be a time where you don't really have a lot to give to yourself. You're going to feel really low. So it's hard to then stand up for yourself in that moment. Be there for yourself, because you're like, it gets to you. I can tell you what I ended up doing is I cried it out a lot, and I didn't handle it very well at first. So don't do what I did. But eventually I did get in contact with a therapist, and that really helped me to talk through the logic of that situation and really process those feelings and let those people go because that's where they wanted to go. And just acknowledge that it was not my fault and that's what it was. Just in this initial moment where it's just been dropped upon you, you just want to get grounded. So anything that can help you to calm down and stop all the anxiety and the heart racing and the painful feelings, and whatever works for you to do that, do it. Okay? I'll put some more tips and tricks for that in the description. All right? Next, number 2, take ownership of your story. All right? So at this time, you're going to be feeling really like justice has not been served. You're going to be feeling like everything's very unfair and there's a story going on about you that you had no control over and that is so backwards and that you did everything to demonstrate that is not how you are or who you are. Sometimes this can happen after you've been really good to people. You feel like you did everything to show your love and care and devotion to people that will then get pulled into this smear campaign, and they'll just be okay with not having you in their life anymore. You're going to feel like there's just this whole group of people out there that just have this false story written about you that you don't get to have any part of or say over. And it's going to be natural that you want to go correct that story because it's not true. I know I'm a big proponent for authenticity and truth, and it really bothers me when people are just stating untrue things and I can't fix it. Really bothers me. It's really hard for me to hold my tongue and let people think something that's not true, especially if it involves me and affects my life. You're going to recognize that you are the narrator of your story. What you say about what your story is most important. Because right now, the only reason that all of that is bothering you, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons that all of that is bothering you is because even if it's not on a conscious level, you are more influenced and you put more validity and weight into what other people say about you than what you know about you. Imagine it's like 2 opponents and like you're debating what the truth is. You're over here, you're saying the truth about your story. That's your side of the debate. And they're over here and they're saying,
No, this is what happened.
and it's the opposite. And that bothers you because you're like, no. And you're worried that the audience is going to believe them. But if you know that,
Hello, I'm me, and I know this is what happened. So that weird stuff you're saying and the way you're skewing it, that's not true.
you're the person who's lived your life and you should be the person that knows what happened. And you should feel like anyone who doesn't want to believe you when you are telling the honest to God truth is not worth your time. They factually don't know the facts of the story because they're telling it wrong. So they're either believing something that was told to them or they're perfectly okay with telling a lie that they know is a lie. So it doesn't matter. Either way, they are discrediting your story and they're essentially calling you a liar about your own story. And it's about centering within yourself the confidence that you are the narrator of your story and no one else. And what you say about your story is what is most important. And that's all that should matter to you. And that, yeah, it hurts when people don't believe you and they instead believe the other side. But even if that's a lot of people, maybe you just only had a few close ties and that this has taken those people away. And that's incredibly crushing. You just have to recognize that those people aren't meant to be in your life and that those people aren't for you. People make mistakes, but at this time, those people made their choice. They didn't value whatever you had to say, and they didn't value you enough to do something as simple as hearing you or believing you. And they didn't consider what type of pain that may put you in, and they just, I guess, decided you should just go figure that out and like that you'd be fine. That means something. Even if they didn't take a side, that means something. And I promise you, the people that are meant to be in your life, they won't let something like this happen to you. They won't let you walk this path alone. You just have to think about your own values. And personally, I value people that care about integrity. I value people that care about what the truth is. I value people that care when someone's being mistreated, whoever they are. I'm not down with people getting mistreated. I literally just, no. I don't care what situation it is. I don't care if it's a boyfriend or girlfriend mistreating somebody, if it's my brother doing it, my mom doing it, and I don't like to witness someone getting mistreated. And I'm not going to just sit back and be like,
I'm just not going to be involved.
no, I'm going to be vocal about that and say that I'm not down with that. Especially if it's somebody that I had any sort of connection with, because I act like I didn't see that and just go let somebody just suffer. That's not right, in my opinion, because I value that. Anybody who would react that way is just, they're just not aligned with me. Those aren't the type of people that I'm supposed to have in my life. I struggled so long with this. It's not going to feel good to just accept that. But those people, life is just telling you that those aren't the right people for you. You can just be open with those who want to listen. You can be open with those who are closest to you. Just share your version of events with confidence and clarity and tell the truth, be authentic. And like I said, transparency often just reveals who people are in your life and how much they really cared about you. Even if that hurts, it's better for you, because why would you want people like that in your life? Why would you want to hold on to people like that would care that little about you? They were meant to go. Let them go. Let them go. I've been hearing a lot about this method, let them. And it's let people treat you how they're going to treat you. Let them go on and do that. Take note, check, and let them do that. It's painful, but there's nothing you can do. You will go on and align with the people that you're meant to be around and that will believe you when you're telling the truth and that will stand up for you and stand in your corner. This just wasn't it, babes. I'm sorry. A more creative approach that can help a lot with this. Sometimes you can feel really bogged down and discombobulated from all the gaslighting you might have been receiving. Them trying to convince you that their version is true and you know it's not. You can feel really confused about, okay, like,
I know what happened.
that sometimes your brain will feel the need to just want to get it all straight. And what you can do is you can create a personal vlog, video series, a YouTube channel, or Instagram, or whatever, TikTok, whatever you want to do, and lay out your story for people to hear. Not only does this get it straight in your brain again, where you've probably been damaged a bit by a lot of gaslighting and lies and someone messing with your head, but it also could resonate with others. And there is a big healing power in hearing someone else describe how they went through something really tough that you've also went through. And there's a connection there. There's an energy there. So if you're finding it hard to feel connected to people because you've been betrayed and just treated like you didn't matter, and you're feeling alone and lost, a really good way, and I mean, this is just modern day, something that is available to us and something that you can use to your advantage, is get your story out there. Tell your story, because guess what? There's people that will listen. I can attest to that. There's people that will listen, that do want to listen, that do want to hear what you have to say and what you've gone through, and it will help other people. Oftentimes, going through some things firsthand is one of the best ways to get knowledge, one of the best ways to gain wisdom. So share it. It will really help you to feel useful again. It will help you to feel connected, and it will clear up all that gaslighty crap that's stuck up in there in your brain, just bogging everything up. I do have to warn you that when you first start doing that, if you do take that route, this is just going to be another area for this person to probably attack you in. They're going to see it, maybe, or someone that they know is going to see it, and that's going to likely get you some backlash. And just know that their narrative doesn't matter. Just know why you're doing it, and as long as you are doing it in a way that's non-defensive, you're not getting on there to just defend yourself. You're getting on there to tell your true story, your experiences from as unbiased of a lens as you can have as yourself, and just telling what happened, and be very dedicated to being authentic. Make sure that you're doing it in a way that is genuine so that people can connect to it, and those who need to hear something like that are going to hear it. They're going to be energetically pulled to it, and it's going to help people to relate and help. Maybe something in your story could spark something that they didn't think of. And so don't worry about what anyone comes at you, because they're going to. If you're in the middle of a smear campaign and you do this, they are going to likely try to cut you down for doing this. I experienced it myself. They're going to try to say something like,
You just want attention. I heard that you're doing this online. You're just trying to get eyes on you.
I was like,
Maybe you don't know how YouTube works.
duh. Like, that's kind of when you make a video, you want people to watch it. Like, right? I mean, obviously. I was like,
Yeah, you're right, I do. I absolutely do. You can't get monetized either on YouTube if you don't have people watching it, so absolutely I want attention on my video. And I'm not understanding your point.
he didn't really like that I spun it that way, but that's what worked for me. So, try it out, see how it goes. Okay. Number 3 way to react to a smear campaign is to make your focus be on your personal integrity. Your personal integrity and your boundaries. That's what's important. Stay true to those. You cannot control what other people say about you. You're not going to be able to control this person. If they're on a smear campaign about you, you literally can't stop them. They're going to do it, and you're going to have to accept it. And you'll just have to realize that while you cannot control what other people say about you and what they believe about you, what you can control is your own behavior, your own integrity and your own boundaries, your own actions. If you're a genuine person, you know that you didn't do anything wrong to this person. You didn't do anything that would warrant being treated so badly or warrant people to say these things about you. And you know that these things are not accurate to your character. Just keep showing that. Just keep living as the person that you are. Just keep being a person of your word. Keep being a person of integrity. Keep treating people kindly. Keep being you. Don't let it harden you. Don't let it turn you into somebody that's like them and get all vindictive and try to get petty and try to get back at them. No, you're not them. You're not that person. You're not like that person. That person's doing a smear campaign? Like, how petty do you have to be? How insecure and how cruel do you have to be to do something like that? Very. And so you don't need to retaliate. You don't need to defend yourself. All you need to do is just keep being the beautiful you that you've always been. Eventually, your true actions are going to outshine the lies. Period. The truth always prevails in the end. It always prevails. Because people can't keep up lies forever. They can't. They forget them. They mess them up. They're going to mess them up and skew them, and someone's going to notice. You're going to be consistent. You're going to always be you. So eventually, anybody with half a brain is going to recognize what was a lie and who you really are. And now, I wouldn't encourage that anyone who decided to not have your back in this situation, they already made that choice. I wouldn't encourage you to be quick to run back to having those people in your life, but just let your heart be at ease to know that if you just continue to be yourself, they're going to figure it out someday. And if they don't, who cares? Because they're not in your life anymore. They're gone. They chose to not believe in you. They chose to not be in your life. I'm going to be really straightforward with you. The reason I can make this video now, this has been 2 years in the making now since this happened to me. And I could have never made it 2 years ago because I couldn't do these things. I struggled bad with this. I did not make the decisions that I'm giving to you to make right now, but it is definitely what I should have done. And one really big mistake I made was to remain in contact with that person off and on. If I had absolutely no contact with this person, if I would have cut them out, made sure that they had no access to me, I had no access to them, and I did not know what was going on, then I wouldn't have still been susceptible to further injuries, but I was. And so what you really want to make sure to do in this situation is cut everybody off. Anybody that is participating in this false narrative, or at the very least not speaking up for what they know to be the opposite about you, because they've been around you and they know that that's not true, but they're not speaking up. They're just deciding to have less contact with you and not be in your life anymore. Those people too. Get all those people off of your social media, block numbers, and move on. Those people are over there. You're over here. You don't need to see what's being discussed over there. Someone told me if people want to live in a delusional world, then leave them over there and let that be their story. That's none of your business. That's not really for you to have a say in. Some people just, that's how they get by. They want to live in there, you don't live there. So you are not accessible to them ever anymore. Never. Even when they reach out to you, that's been my biggest struggle. I could go without sending out something for a long time, but it was when someone would reach out to me. I had such a hard time not responding. Even though if a lot of time would go by and this person would reach out to me, I'm gonna be nice. Like, I'm gonna be polite. I'm not just gonna go right into rage. Like,
Why are you texting me?
I'm gonna be honest. Even very recently, I'm still really bad at this. This is where I really struggle to ignore someone if they reach out. And the bad thing about people that often do this is that they're literally just keeping their tabs on you. And it's not gonna go anywhere. They're gonna get their little hit off of you that they need for that moment. It's so minimal too. It'll be just so surface level, and it will be about nothing. It will be for nothing. It will be a couple texts back and forth, and then it'll be gone again. And that's all they needed. They just needed to get their little hit off of you. And if you don't want to be somebody's, side drug, then I would suggest that you block this person and do not let them have access to you, because they will do that to you constantly, ever so often. It's not right. You definitely deserve better than that. I deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. We're going to work on that. Number 4 is regarding addressing people who have decided to distance themselves from you right when this end of this relationship happened, right when things went separate. You notice that all these people too stopped talking to you. They don't seem to care about keeping in touch with you. They have a different demeanor. If you've been around them and you try to talk to them, they kind of feel cold and they kind of seem like not themselves, like you don't have a bond there anymore. And maybe even you did bring something like this up with them and they kind of said, I don't want to be involved, and just shut you down. So this is going to discuss how to handle that. This one is really iffy. Okay, now, one, I want to provide the disclaimer that this can get your feelings hurt. This can be something that when you're in the middle of the really painful time of it first happening, this can really hurt you if you pursue this, because it can go either way. You don't know what response you're going to get. And I can tell you firsthand that I did not get the responses that I hoped to get. And I got hurt bad. I got very humbled, and I had to face that numerous people were choosing to discard me. They were just choosing to accept that I was done with. And I didn't know that it was going to be so abrupt and final like that. I mistakenly thought that I had genuine bonds with people that were in his life. And it's been revealed that I didn't, sadly. So that might happen to you. So what I would suggest for this part is, depending on who did this smear campaign against you, and depending on who is in the midst of it, I've seen it done to other people where it's their own family is questioning what's real and what's not. And that can happen. They can try to influence your family sometimes in a smear campaign. But if that's the case, and it's like your best friend for many years is involved, and people that you really feel like you know very well, and you really feel like if you just could tell your side, they would honestly get it. They would realize that what this person's saying is not true, and that maybe the lie that was told about you or the story that was told about you was just so shocking that it made people kind of go like,
oh, yikes, I don't know, that's really uncomfortable.
and maybe they don't want to believe it about you, but they're hearing this statement from this person, and it's just like,
Okay, that just kind of makes me take a pause.
you'll want to assess a few things. You want to assess who that is possibly being swayed by this smear campaign is meaningful enough in your life that you want to try to salvage a relationship with. You want to put in that effort to at least try to have a conversation with them so that they can hear your side, so that they can be let in on the actual truth, because you care about that relationship. And then if there are a few people like that, then it might be worth, if you prepare your heart, this is hard either way, with having an honest conversation with them. And you reach out to them and say,
In light of some of the rumors spinning around, I really value our relationship, and I believe at least that you care about me as well, and I would just like to explain to you what happened here, because what you're hearing right now, what's being spread around, is not the truth.
and then it's in that person's hands to respond how they're going to respond to that. And you have to, I'm telling you, if you're going to do this, you absolutely have to prepare your heart for the possibility that they say.
I'd really rather just stay out of that.
And then it could be the case that they mean that, like they really just would rather stay out of that, but then they continue to be the same friend they've been to you. Or they could say, I'd really rather just stay out of that, and you could just watch them distance themselves and really just not talk to you anymore. But you know that they are obviously still in that person's life, because they might even be closer to that person. You might have met them through that person, and that's the risk that you take. I mean, that it's still going to be that outcome whether you offer this or not. I guess it's just like you could get your feelings hurt and feel kind of embarrassed, I guess, if you put yourself out there like this and then you get shot down. And I definitely did have this happen to me. When it first happened, I was in such a raw emotion state, and I couldn't believe how coldly I was being treated by the person. And I had spent the last more than 3 years of my life, and especially the last 2 years of my life, I had spent very close to them. I mean, I lived with some of them. And of course, I would reach out to those people that were involved in that situation. I'm getting through it, and these wild accusations are coming at me, and he's stirring the pot. He's telling me that these just things that I wouldn't imagine anyone would be saying or feeling about me, because I didn't do anything to deserve that. He's telling me,
Well, this is how this person feels, and this is what was said, and
I'm just like,
How can that be?
and I would be so hurt, and I just wouldn't understand. And I knew, obviously, it had to be what he was spinning the story as, or how he was portraying things that would ever make people view it that way, or that would ever have people feeling that way. So I would reach out. I think even a couple times in the beginning, it was like we were still sorting out regular logistics of things through moving out of the house, and they reached out to me, and I think I just said how I felt in that moment. I think they said something to the effect of,
I just don't really know what's going on, and it's really hard to navigate this, and I hope that you're doing well, and just please be kind to yourself.
they had kind words for me, but did I hear from that person anymore? I did not. I think I reached out to that person on their birthday, and they just said,
Like, thank you.
and then the next time I reached out to that person, it had been so long. I think it had been a year. And it was because I was again being accused of something so outlandish out of nowhere. This came out of freaking left field. I was accused of vandalizing this person's vehicle. I was nowhere near this person. This was a year out from our breakup. So was I still hurting from it? Yeah, I was still deep in it. I was still really suffering, actually, which is crazy to me still that I think about it, but I was. But we had very minimal contact. I think at that point we were literally only contacting each other through email. And it had been months. I actually had blocked him, and then he blocked me back. Some type of, I don't know, it was really dumb and childish, but I blocked him because he was being incredibly inappropriate to me and saying really rude things, and I just couldn't take it anymore, and I couldn't get through to him, so I blocked him because I couldn't justify a way to overlook the things that he was saying to me. He was continuing to accuse me of things that were so outside of my character, that were so inflammatory, and I had to let it go. So I blocked him. I had him blocked for an extended amount of time, and then one day, out of nowhere, my parents get a text. My parents come to me and show me that they've been texted a picture of his car. That is, I really don't know what happened, but something happened to the windshield where someone like wrote in the windshield, and they wrote unblock me, and I was blocked. And he just automatically assumed it was me, told everyone it was me, told my parents it was me, and said he's getting a restraining order and to tell me I need to stop. I broke down. I was all the anger and all the sadness and everything I'd been through for the last year, and the way he just overlooked me and just made it worse and kicked me while I was down. And all of it all came to a head that day. I broke down. I was down bad. I was so angry. I was so insulted. I knew that he was blocked, so I couldn't defend myself. There was that initial automatic urge to immediately defend myself, which is number one, don't do that. Remember, let's go back to number one. Don't do that. I really wanted to. And when I realized that wasn't going to happen and I had no way to do that, and that I just had to literally just ignore and endure this behavior that was continuing a year later, and now I'm getting accused of something that's punishable by law, maybe. And I had nothing to do with it. And knowing this person, because he's already done the smear campaign on me since way back when we were still together, and I just didn't know what was going on. So I know he's telling everybody that I've done this to his car. He's telling his whole family. There's still some ties with people in my life, and someone in my life, in my family, is telling me on their Instagram they had somebody that they follow that are in connection with that's in his family that lives with him, and they're like,
It's on Instagram. It's on the story.
so they're broadcasting this. They are absolutely falsely accusing me publicly. And I broke down. I really did. I had an actual intense panic attack. It was so uncontrollable. I blacked out. My body and my emotions and everything that I'd been through, it just gave. I couldn't take the pain and the cruelty. I couldn't take it anymore. And I broke. So I actually had to have emergency services come and help me out. It was a wild day. And just remember, I didn't even do it. I literally didn't do it at all. I don't know. I don't think we know to this day who even did that or what it even exactly was that was on the windshield. I don't know. But eventually he did apologize. And I guess that's one example of when someone's doing a rumor about you in my life where that happened, where they actually did clear it up and say,
I'm sorry that I accused you.
But it was so weird because even when he did that, he was still hinting at,
There's no one else it could be. I'm sorry that I accused you of this. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry about that. There's no one else it could be, though. There's no one else it could be.
that's what he kept saying. I was like,
Okay, are you sorry that you accused me? Or are you still trying to accuse me?
what is it? It was a really confusing conversation. A lot of conversations with him are like that, but it was weird. It went from I'm apologizing and then to talking about how he's going to check camera systems and letting me know all these people that have cameras that are pointed there, and he's going to be able to see it very clearly, and he doesn't want me to get into any trouble. And I'm just like,
Dude, I'm kind of feeling like you called to further accuse me.
and he was like,
No. If you say you didn't do it, you didn't do it.
and I was like,
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. Scout's honor. Did not do it. I've never vandalized something in my entire life. Never. Wouldn't start in my 30s. Wouldn't do that. Okay, hold up. Pause. Wait. I just remembered that when I was 13, I did toilet paper someone's house with my friends. And we totally got caught because her mom realized that we snuck out. And she told all of our parents, and I got grounded for a month. So I guess I did vandalize one time in my life when I was 13. So, but I mean, I served hard time for that. I don't think it counts anymore. I have atoned. And also wouldn't do it a year after a breakup, just randomly, when I've not even been talking to this person for months. Wouldn't waste my time. And so when this happened, what I'm getting to here is that was the last time I reached out to people in his family. And I reached out because I felt like I deserved to be able to say,
I didn't do this. And I don't know if he's going to be honest with you. Like, even if he clears it up and, like, we have an understanding that he knows I didn't do it, I don't know that he's going to do that, so I'm going to do it.
And I did it for me. These people were not in my life anymore. I understand that they probably had to not be in my life because he didn't want them to be. I get it, and I'm not mad at them. I don't hold a grudge against them. I have nothing but love for them. It's just the fact of the matter that I do wish that the outcome could have been that I had a more real connection with them like I thought I did, and that I would have gotten to witness that I mattered to them the way that they mattered to me. And it just sucks that it wasn't that way. So when I sent this message, I prefaced it. I didn't want to put pressure on them or drag them into it. I started the message by saying,
please do not feel in any way, shape, or form like you need a response. I'm actually not expecting one from you. I just would like to clear my name and let anybody in your family know, especially you guys, that I did not do that.
And then I stated my side of the story, that it wasn't me, basically. And I just expressed how I was feeling about being accused. And at the end, I ended it with,
I have nothing but love for you still, and I hope you're doing well.
and that's it. And I'm not sorry that I did it, because I'm sure there was no shortage of him throwing me under the bus and falsely accusing me for anybody over there to hear. So I had a right to clear my name, and I did. So, but I did not have a right to expect a response, and I did not get one. So, and that was fine. And then I also reached out to someone else that was involved with his family. Again, I have no animosity and no anger as far as holding a grudge or thinking something bad about anybody besides him. Nobody. I love all those people. My feelings about them have never changed in that aspect. When I had been in the relationship and in the house, there had been times when this person had come to me for support when they were being mistreated, and had come to me as someone to listen to them when I was available and they needed me. I didn't hesitate to be there for them, and I didn't care if anybody would have told me that they didn't like me doing that. And they didn't. My ex, he didn't like me bonding or talking with anybody, but especially not this person, because there was a control aspect there, and there was a mistreatment going on to this person as well at times. So I never took a stance of,
I don't want to get involved in that.
Very fair. I listened, and I felt like I was just genuine. When I care about somebody, I just genuinely care, and I just try to be there for them, and it means something to me. I didn't expect anything in return. You just have to know where you stand with people. And when I reached out to defend myself over the car situation to that person, their stance was,
I don't want to get involved.
I think that a lot of people would react that way in that same situation, so I get it, and I'm not upset at that person, but disappointing, because I understand if it's just a feud between two people and they're both equally having just a disagreement, they're just not getting along, they just don't see eye to eye, then yeah, that's totally warranted.
I don't want to be in the middle of your guys' disagreement. That's just sticky for me. That's not a good look, because I'm still involved with his family.
This is different, and I get that this person likely wasn't able to discern this at the time. And mind you, this was prior to my name being cleared, him openly stating, I know that you didn't do it, I'm sorry that I accused you. This was like right after it happened. So maybe this person didn't know if I did it or not, I guess. So I was just trying to say,
I promise you I did not do this. You know me, and you know that that doesn't sound like me, and I would not do that.
And the response was,
I really don't want to be involved.
And the reason that I just feel like that's different is because I don't want to be involved in it either. I am being falsely accused of something that I didn't ask for, that I'm not involved in, and it's wrong. Someone's doing something wrong to me, and so it's not really the same type of a situation where you just say,
I just don't want to be involved.
Once he called to tell me that he was sorry for accusing me, there were no Instagram stories to state that I didn't do it. There was nobody reaching out to me to say,
We know you didn't do this.
There was nobody saying,
I'm sorry that I didn't want to get involved and didn't say anything on your behalf.
so that is a possibility that you could face if you decide to do this with people that are involved in this smear campaign. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to hurt. But just remember that this is going to be a big crossroads in your life. This is going to be a real growth period for you. And anytime you're growing, and anytime you are being authentic and transparent and living in truth, you're going to lose people out of your life. But you're not going to lose the people that are meant to be in your life. And that can be a really hard lesson to get on board with when you lose nearly everyone that's been in your immediate every day-to-day life for years. That was the case with what I was dealing with. I lost everyone that was my day-to-day surroundings, just like that. It was hard. But I promise you, even in that situation, you will not lose anyone that is meant to be in your life. You will not. So you just got to really get some thick skin and really hold yourself up. Go to therapy if you can. There's always someone that you can talk to. And if you don't have anyone, then there's online forums, there's support groups. There's always somebody. And you just have to get back out there and make new connections. And it's really hard. But when deciding if you're going to address people that were involved in the smear campaign, just make sure that you've prepared your heart. Now, so we're past that step, right? Okay. And let's say you've addressed the people that you think had a bit strong enough bond with you that you felt like were worth trying to, the bond was worth trying to maybe salvage or speak up for yourself. And let's say that ended the way it did for me. That ended in you finding out that wasn't the case and that people were not going to stand in your corner whatsoever. No, they actually already moved on and tossed you out. So how to handle that is step number 5. If they distance themselves further after you try to reach out. When you reach out and they distance more or they imply that they don't want to get involved, it's likely they've already taken a stance and it's not with you. You have to keep in mind, center yourself in this situation and always keep at the top of your mind that someone has created a false narrative about what happened between the two of you, or is telling false stories about you, or is skewing things, or has manipulated people into believing certain things about you or not caring about you, and that you did not do those things. That is not the truth. You are simply sticking with what is the truth. Always remember that. And so there's a stance that someone is taking.
I don't even want to listen long enough to even decide if I believe this side or this side.
And when someone takes their hands off in such a situation that it affects your life so deeply, they've chosen a stance and it is not in your corner. And what you have to do is not take that as a reflection of your worth. Remind yourself that they are improperly informed and that they aren't willing to become informed. And that's not saying like these people are bad people or something. People often are going to prioritize their day-to-day peace and their day-to-day comfort zone and what they have going on over something that's going to maybe involve a confrontation or something that's going to be difficult or something that's going to feel like drama. And that's understandable. But as the person that's getting lies told about them, you got to just see that how you got to see it. You don't need to make it about you because it's not. What you do need to do is make the decision to release that relationship. Because to continue investing in those bonds, I mean, that's what's going to be very disrespectful to yourself. In that situation, I know what I would do. That's not what was done towards me, and so that's fine. Those people aren't released from my life. You just gotta let them go. And now it's gonna bother you sometimes.
I can't believe all these people that I once trusted and once lived my life around, and I thought they saw me. I thought they saw the person that I am, and I thought that they could see my genuine heart, and I thought it all meant something, but it doesn't feel like it does.
And that's gonna get to you sometimes. But what you need to do is just reframe your outlook on that situation and reframe your expectations about what's happening with that. The bottom line is some people are going to choose to remain neutral. Some people may even full on choose to align with the person that is smearing you. And you need to recognize that is a reflection of their own limitations in the matter and their own discomfort with having to do otherwise or wanting to do otherwise, and nothing about you. It doesn't mean that you didn't matter. Don't let your mind go down that rabbit hole of like,
Well, I didn't matter to them.
that is the wrong way to look at it. That's what's really been a big pain for me. It's really hard for me to get that out of my head and not think about it that way. Because that's what it seems. Ultimately, it seems like I didn't matter to them. And I think back to all the moments that we shared and a lot of the things that I thought were so important, and it does feel like I didn't matter to them. But it's not about whether you mattered or not. It's about their own limitations in the matter and their own discomfort. And just let that be. Let it go. Just like a little butterfly coming out of the cocoon, just let it fly away. Just let it go with the breeze. Remind yourself that everyone, they're just human, and give grace and just understand that it was a hard situation for everyone to probably navigate a bit. I know that at least a few of those people, if we had met under different circumstances, they would have been some solid, genuine friends in my life. I choose to believe that. I felt that way. And so I just choose to think of them fondly, and I don't hold any animosity towards them. And I know that they didn't mean any harm to me. They were just in a tough situation and they chose what was best for them. And then just shift your focus to healing yourself and shift your focus to people that are in your corner, even if you have one. I did have a few, and at this time my brain was really messing with me, my emotions were really messing with me, I was really messed up. I felt like I didn't know who I could trust. I thought anybody could turn on me at any moment. I thought,
You just can't trust anyone.
and I got really wary of people. And so it was hard for me to reach out and have a support system because I was like,
I don't want anyone in my life ever again. I don't want to ever risk that pain again of someone betraying me like that.
ugh. So this can be tough sometimes, but I did have at least one or two people that I did feel comfortable enough around that they got me through it and they were there for me when I needed support. Those were the moments that really helped me. So just kind of cling on in that area. It's going to hurt right now. The pain of their distance is going to hurt you. The bright side of this is that letting go of people that don't support you, wishing them well, and just letting it go frees up space in your life and in your emotional capacity for new people to come in that will support you, that will stand by you if somebody does something like this to you ever, that will listen to you, that will believe you, that will see you for the genuine person that you are, and will form bonds with you that mattered and meant something. You're just clearing some space so that you have an opportunity to have relationships like that. That's the bright side. It's so freaking hard, I know. I really do. It's one of the hardest things I've ever been through. Number 6 is you're going to channel that pain creatively. We know some of the common methods, journaling, therapy, art, music, talking to a close friend that does support you, all these things that we've talked about. Play one of those card games that gets you talking about your emotions and stuff with somebody. Like, that'll really release a lot. I'm telling you, it'll release. You will be in your feelings, and that'll help. That helps with emotional processing and getting some of that pain out. You need to get that pain. You need to channel this pain. It needs to come out of you. And my, oh my, the depth of that pain. It's not all the way done coming out, but like, my gosh, I never could imagine that so much pain could be inside of me. So much. Sometimes you gotta get that out of you because that stuff was weighing me down. It's so heavy. You gotta let it pour out. You have to find a way that is positive to channel that pain instead of some type of negative path, like rumination or substances. You don't want to go that direction. I wasn't very artistic most of my life. I literally was like,
I can't do art. I don't like art.
I literally didn't like it. I thought I was no good at it and I never had an interest. And then suddenly when the pandemic hit, I was like,
We can do some art. We can do some decorating and creating things.
Lord, am I a creator? Honey, hallelujah. I was born to create things. I create things all the time. Very creative in so many different ways. It just took off and blossomed. And I was like,
I'm an artist.
I never even knew it. So I think that art in some way or another is in all of us. There is a creative, but it might not be like actual like painting or something, but creativity in some way. Creating something that means something about you, that is an expression of your inner thoughts and feelings or your inner self. And I think that's a really good way to process pain, whether it's poetry or it's songwriting or it's drawing or painting, sculpting, decorating, writing a book. I don't know, anything. Just find a way to express yourself in this time where you have a lot of finding you again to do. Number 7 is really important action advice, okay? Listen, you want to publicly maintain grace and resilience, okay? I'm not telling you to be fake, but I am telling you, don't get on your social media and start putting up posts that seem to be aimed at somebody. Like when people, I hate when people do this. You're reading somebody's social media post and you're like,
I feel like this is a text message to someone. This seems like I'm reading a text message that is meant for somebody very much in particular.
don't do that. It's just, it's cringe. Avoid getting into public arguments. Avoid getting into any arguments with this person or anybody else connected. I made this mistake a lot. We certainly had many more arguments after the breakup. Don't do it. It's such a waste of your time and a drain of your energy. And that person is very dead set on exploiting you. So every time, please believe that every time you argue with them, anything you text them, anytime you're in your feelings, anytime you're out of your sorts and you're engaging, you're giving in and you're having an emotional reaction to them, please believe that they are not the only person that is going to see that. Promise you. They are going to show anybody that they can your meltdown or your argument, your anger, your sadness. You're going to be broadcast, okay? Anything that paints you in a less than positive light, getting in their hands, please believe it's going to go well past their hands. And I know that, I'm certain that was done to me. And I mean, at the time, I messed up and I didn't care. I was just authentically expressing my pain at this person who had hurt me so bad and done me wrong. But I'm sure that many people got to see my very private low moments because this person doesn't care about me. That person doesn't care about me getting exploited. That person will exploit me for their own gain in their own image. And so just know that is likely to happen to you. So know that you can never trust this person again. Don't think that because they're being kind and you're having a conversation, don't get mixed up in the moment and think back to the trust you had in this person as your partner or who you were with before. Because they have absolutely shown you that they cannot be trusted. Do not trust them ever again. Anyone who would ever try to ruin your reputation or even allow information to spread around about you that is going to paint you in a negative light, and they're part of that. Someone who loves and cares about you would never, ever do that to you. Don't trust this person ever again. They don't mean well for you. They will let you suffer in a heartbeat if it means something beneficial to them, or if telling the truth is going to make them look bad. They'll let you suffer 10 times out of 10 ahead of them. I promise you. Every time. They're very selfish, and some are actively trying to do this to you. So do not trust them. Really stress the fact that you should just cut this person off. They should be blocked. I did struggle with this bad. So I can't. No, I'm going to say I can still tell you that that's the best thing to do, because it is. I'm just being honest and saying that I was bad at that. I was really bad. That was a hard thing for me to do. I have shame to say that, but it's hard. Nothing good has come of me not doing that. Like, it's only been bad. It's only made my struggle worse. So I can attest to that. I can tell you that is absolutely true. And that is what will happen to you too. Okay? So it's just best to block them. They can't be trusted. They don't deserve to know what's going on in your intimate, personal, emotional world and ever again. They effed that up entirely. They lost every privilege to that. They don't ever get to know that again. Don't give that to them ever again. And when you post stuff on social media, just remember everyone can see that, and it stays there forever. So don't get in your feelings on social media. What you can do is, like I'm doing right now, I'm very candid on here. I'm just honest, and I tell my real feelings, and I give it completely authentically from inside of me, but it's done with a certain level of tact. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but just don't get online and subtext. I think it's called like subtext or whatever, subtweet. I don't know what it's called. Where you're sending like subliminals, where you're basically talking to that person without saying you're talking to that person. You're like putting it on social media, hoping that they'll see it or something like that, and your message will get through. I understand I think maybe like back in the day, in my younger days, I probably did this, and I think we all kind of do it when we're teenagers and stuff. But there's some people that do it well into their adulthood, and it's not okay. It's not good. Don't do that. Those things belong in your private journal, and those things belong in your private notes and voice memos, and that's where you let all that out. Okay, go on Reddit, do it on there too. That's a great place. Let it all out on there, but just like your feedback is going to be mixed. Some people are really messed up on there, but it's an outlet if you want to do that. But do not post it publicly online where everyone can read it and knows exactly who you are. Okay, it just doesn't look good. Maintain public grace and resilience, and talk about your growth. Share your positive improvements. Share the progress you've made with others that are going through the same thing, and be an example of how it is to really go through something like this, and show your version of it without dwelling too deeply into the negative and the anger and the emotions to a level that it's not graceful anymore at all. You're going off the rails on the crazy train. Number 8. Redefine who you are in your own power. Restart your story and start writing it. You need to realign with the you that you had wanted to be before this happened to you. Remember the path that you were on. Remember some of the goals that fell to the wayside when you got wrapped up in this. Remind yourself about the person that you want to be, the best you that you can be, the potential that you have, and just start doing the things that are going to get you closer to being that person. There's a lot of things that when we're wrapped up in a toxic relationship, we lose sight of for ourselves. You get completely detached from, and you lose your progress on. Now, instead of every time you want to ruminate on this pain of what this person's done to you and how it's affected your life and how much you're hurting over it, instead, give way for those feelings to get out of you. But put a time limit on it, and then move on to how you can become the best version of you right now, because you're going to feel like you're missing this person, or you're suffering from the separation of the people that you lost, and it's going to feel like you're lonely and you don't have anything to do with your time and you don't know how to distract yourself. Perfect time to resume things that are going to make you the best you. What is something that you have been saying for years you want to do, you want to accomplish, you want to get done? Go do it now. Sign up for it today. What is it? You've been saying you wanted to do this class, get this new hobby. go sign up for it. Literally get on your computer right now and look it up and sign up for it. Get your name in there. You've been wanting for a long time to write a book. Tonight you're writing the first chapter. Write it. Get the idea together. Just start writing. Make some progress on it. You've been wanting to get back in shape. Okay, well, right now, set a date and a time within the next 1 or 2 days that you are going to plan and stick to a workout. You're going to do it. Get to it. Tonight you're going to start, okay? You've lost enough time. You know what doesn't matter? All the time that you've wasted, that doesn't matter. Stop dwelling on that. Because while you're dwelling on that, you're just losing more time. You know what would have been the most wonderful thing that you could do if you had the opportunity would be if you could go back and you could take advantage of all that time that you wasted. But guess what? Right now is the future's back in time. Right now, you could just decide to do it this time and you won't get to that date in the future where you're like,
I wish I would have started it back then.
this is back then. You're back then. Right now, do it today. Do it today. Do one thing that is something that you've put on the back burner for a long time for you that will elevate you. I'm sure you've heard this saying before. The best way to get justice, get revenge on this person is simply a life well lived. Do you know what this person wants to see when they see you again? When they happen to come across you or peek into what you're doing again? Do you know how happy you're going to make them if you are showing them you're still exactly where you were, where they left you? You're still dwelling on this issue. You're still upset about it, and you've made no progress. And you know what they're going to think? They're going to be like,
That's what they get. That's what they deserve. I got them.
do you want that? No, that's the freaking last thing you ever would want. That's a horror movie. No. But do you know what is the best thing that can happen? Is if when they see you again, you are miles and worlds and levels well above the level that they underestimated you to. And usually with this type of a person, it's not hard to be more than what they underestimated you down to, because they were wrong anyway. Don't do it for them. Don't just be like,
I've got to improve myself to show them.
absolutely not. They don't deserve that from you based on how they've treated you. You're going to do it for you, but it's just going to aid in this part as well, because the best revenge is a life well lived. You don't need to get revenge. You don't need to get back at them. You don't need to try to hurt them back. You don't need to try to get them to see that what they did to you is wrong and hurtful and that they've ruined your life. You don't need to do that. And you know why? Because that's only going to hurt you anyway, keep you stuck. They're not going to give a crap. They don't care. It's not going to have any effect on them. But you know what will have an unbelievable impact and effect on them in just the way you want it to? Is them finding out when they happen to come across you again and expect to see this suffering person that they left down in the depths of the dumpster, that you're not in the depths of the dumpster at all, that you're actually well above them and that they were very wrong about you. That's what will get to them. That is how you right this wrong. You do well for yourself. By the time you get where you're going, this person is going to be so far off your radar that you're not going to give two what the hell they're thinking if they should ever happen to see you again. You're just going to probably be hoping that you don't see this person ever again. Just elevate, babes. Just elevate. The way that you deal with the smear campaign is you rise above it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to be an easy thing to do, that you just got to be strong.
Just forget these people.
Not at all. I absolutely know it's not like that. This is going to be painful. It's going to take some time. There's going to be nights where you cry. There's going to be nights where you feel like you can't do it. But at the end of the day, remember some of these tools, remember some of these truths, and just find yourself again. And I know that you can do it. I know it. You can do it. Just never give up on yourself. Never do what this person did to you. Never turn your back on yourself, and you'll be fine. Okay? I love you. If you want to continue to get advice for difficult things that we navigate in relationships and in life, make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? Do it. And I will catch you on the next episode. I love you so much. Bye.
Go faster and faster, please.